So, like all assignments, can you hear me? Okay. Like all assignments, I took this one really seriously and mostly failed to channel anyone. But the one that I was able to maintain as both like a belated and abiding influence was Agnes Martin. So there are a few things about her work and her ideas that I want to share with you. One is that she always maintained a kind of radical negativity that was also attended by a way of being at peace with what she called the theme of life. And that is just like astounding and impossible to me. So one of the manifestations of this negativity was that she couldn't really sit with her own work. So if she had her old paintings around, she would destroy them. And she denied that her work had any kind of like evolution, right? It was all just one thing, which was also a part of her very strong sense of what work is. And, you know, we are under the influence, and she would have called influence inspiration, just like, you know, rather than the fluid of influence, like the air of inspiration. So I'm going to read some fragments of hers and then some poems of mine that were written since this invitation was extended. So these writings are from a book of hers that came out in 1991, edited by Dieter Schwartz, that I can't afford, but it exists online in PDF. It's called Writings. Artwork has only a tincturing of what it attempts to represent to the artist and to responsive observers. It is not beneficial, nothing is gained from it, and it does not tell the truth. It is enjoyed or not, according to the condition of the observer, a very small gesture of exaltation. I want to talk to you about the work, artwork. I will speak of inspiration, the studio, viewing artwork, friends of art, and artist temperaments. But your interest and mine is really the works of art. Artwork is very important in the way that I will try to show when I speak about inspiration. I have sometimes put myself ahead of my work in my mind and have suffered in consequence. I thought me, and I suffered. I thought I was important. I was taught to think that. I was taught, you are important. People are important beyond anything else. But thinking that, I suffered very much. I thought that I was big and the work was small. It is not possible to go on that way. To think I am big is the work is big. The position of pride is not possible either. And to think I am small and the work is small, the position of modesty is not possible. I will go on to inspiration, and perhaps you will see what is possible. As I describe inspiration, I do not want you to think I am speaking of religion. That which takes us by surprise, moments of happiness, that is inspiration. Inspiration which is different from daily care. Many people as adults are so startled by inspiration, which is different from daily care, that they think they are unique in having had it. Nothing could be further from the truth. Inspiration is pervasive, but not a power. It is a peaceful thing. It is a consolation even to plants and animals. Do not think that it is unique. If it were unique, no one would be able to respond to your work. Do not think it is reserved for a few or anything like that. My formats are square, but the grids never are absolutely square. They are rectangles, a little bit off the square, making a sort of contradiction, a dissonance, though I didn't set out to do it that way. When I cover the square surface with rectangles, it lightens the weight of the square, destroys its power. Perceiving is the same as receiving, and it is the same as responding. Perception means all of them. It goes on all the time, whether we are asleep or awake. When we wake, we can recall that which we perceived while sleeping. Perception is a function. A function is a part of a process. It does not identify. We are not identified by perception. We also think. Perception is the primary experience. Thinking, we consider that which we have perceived. It is a secondary experience. Thinking compares everything that we have perceived with everything that we are perceiving at the moment. There is no difference between thinking and relative living. Thinking leads to pride, identification, confusion, and fear. Work is a function in which we seem to be identified. But in reality, work is a part of the process of life in which we cannot perceive the beginning or end of our function. We have no understanding of the process of life, in whole or in part, and we never will. We cannot, therefore, identify ourselves with our work. When we go to museums, we do not just look. We make a definite response to the work. As we look at it, we are happier or more sad, more at peace or more depressed. A work may stimulate yearning, helplessness, belligerence, or remorse. The cause of the response is not traceable in the work. An artist cannot and does not prepare for a certain response. He does not consider the response, but simply follows his inspiration. Works of art are not purposely conceived. The response depends upon the condition of the observer. These are now. Action is content, and content without any action is desire. There is a flashing forth by which I enter your heart and instruct you. Get me to the brouhaha, the cry of the devil in the cloth of the clergy. The hubbub, bubba, go, scum up the wildredness, and then you will see some of the light lift. In the grass the moss was in the clover of what everything is but mine, dug under the little I cannot instrument. Man, I have imperceptible knowledge, a lot, guys, and work very little all of the time, so that your desire is strong as it should be, to call attention to the title's own, to unhurt with, be smart about, and redact your faces. Herein is a box I've hidden in time. Having the manner of a beast looking backward, nostalgia, herald, regarding, for the ministered administration, plus language. If power was a vacuum you used on the rug with your hands, it was less effable, but as language much more. Like these are the bounds by which I leap, and here is a box, and here is the box you're in, by which conjunction you pay for things with time, though there isn't a whole lot left. And if you can see the whole, immediately it's a problem, and like all problems, is given, is as a given. The gift work is, but doesn't do, which is the opposite of a window, that is what it does what it wants to be, outside. And inside, every word is a safe word, each one anymore. Okay, I was distracted during reading that one because I forgot to tell you one amazing thing about Agnes Martin, which is that there's this interview late in her life, she died in 2004, and she talks about the kind of state of mind that she needs to be in to work, and she calls it a mind of nothing, and she says that she used to need to kind of meditate to get there, but then she just gave up on ideas entirely. She didn't believe any ideas that were anyone else's, and she didn't have any of her own. And she said some ideas were harder to give up on, like evolution, the atom, but there was no qualification. She just said that, and she ended the interview in that way. So that kind of sense of nothing is in here too. Ted says it is real and eternal, and tries to keep it that way. In the comment feed beneath the dream of the flesh-eating dolphin, whose name was Asian, so as to remove it from wherever else it appeared, there became an invitation to a new phase, which I accepted by going through, and just beneath it was trending World of the End, in a figurative but diminutive alphabet, including triangles, black widows, probably snake eyes, that thus configured said, millennia are real and life is easier if none of my desires are for me, until whatever thought had kept for itself went into an extant room to found a new tense, a new way of willing the future's end. And then the drums came down from the sky, as though not everything were not okay, and out of the rent, slippery and daylit, one washed up on the shore of the bay, to vomit that suasion dispatched by the gesture's only aspiration, forgiven in irony like I can avoid by haphazarding it, as a wizard who will that I wooded it. Because of the wires, and because I am afraid we are using too many of the invisible forces get weepy about my ignorance, circumagitate the reft, boss the ether nether, from whence I pass, stupidly in an airplane apace the upper worlds, whose late effect is realized as the thrown knowledge that what I'm telling is wanting not to be late for the end of the world, because I am an epiphenomenon, and in the face of it, I do philosophy by removing vowels from prison person, so whatever sincerely you have to show up for, it must be with the visible relinquishment at the speed of swans, the wolf, hope, what have you, sent up with other pluses, and do still not become uncomfortable to be around, get with, neither impose your relinquishment on others, either your ambition, oops. But since I am it, and confident that I am not, nor earthquakes meter in geologic time, that I am not whirlwindy and not special alive, and I don't want to work on what's prepared for never to end, I wonder, can you feel my love point from many a wondrous grot and secret cell, and having after the world lets go, come on and on to have truly have empty space for her monument. But it is an infinite command. I manage an image of clay. This poem quotes from a lot of places that I've not mentioned and will continue not to. I manage an image of clay, which was what was wanted. The obvious gray and thick wisdom, hey, real chaos, that gathered non-concept, a point that is not a point. The nowhere existent something or the somewhere existent nothing is a non-conceptual concept of freedom from opposition. The concept of gray, the gray point of the unreturned world, encircled by its whirring turd, because of which I am sorry. In that I want to belong to the ocean, because of what it looks like to see. Money, comma, the point has no magnitude, but is still the inception of a line, and the line has no point, which is the portion I've hoarded, is swarming, the bower made by agitation. Everything exactly as incomprehensible as the world's recollection of the suggestion to manifest, matter established in bitcoins, because something about power and the lights of many houses, but also about making actually nothing out of actually something, even if that something is invisible, but for its effects on things, and drained of perfection, also animates what remains to ask, how goes the enemy, in order to beg what time it is. Is it yet time for problems to turn off, to understand better and arrive at the ocean, muddy, looking sorry at, what I have of that effect on? I have a mayday in restricted space, too. So answered as what's needed, what's missing, either that 15th century grimoire or something a teacher must us have taught to uncommunicate. For physics alone makes happenstance happen, but there is a world that proceeds through discovery rather than invention to the alley ocean free, all ye outs and free, rhythm. Really, a mirror with nothing in front of it reflects everything. Stupid. For I was using my flood voice, then firestroke, to determine what force is, but is not expressive of, when the order was, make pentagon, and the reception of the order went, through storm, what do you think I am doing, looking at my phone? Or show me what doesn't depend, whether it's rushed, deepened, I have to go, earthy bliss embowered, call me back. Hush, nugget, whilst drum to the held center, neither horse nor rider, a river underwater runs its course, whose managers and image thereafter I manage only that. So maybe I'm going to the woods to make a coterie, and as a change it will be so total that we will have to call it a form. What precarity's perch hurls when party, beast are hard to be. So maybe I'm going to the woods because I can break it down. Thank you.